Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am the Truckin' Trucker, and I got another trail review for you. It's number 2. I'm excited and getting more comfortable with doing these. I hope that everybody's enjoying the motivational quotes that I'm putting out on the shorts, and they're inspiring me as I write them and research them, and these reviews as well. And there's going to be more content to come. I'm working hard at getting out there and hiking some more, and recently, Littlefoot and I went to Pot Lake Trail, which is in the Bluff Wilderness area in Timberlea, Nova Scotia, and we slayed the Pot Lake Trail. Alright, so the Pot Lake Trail, it is a trail that is very weird and kind of hard to describe. I would say that, to get it right out of the way, it is a moderately challenging trail. They nailed it on the head on Alltrails, so good job there as far as a new person is concerned. I was content with the amount of challenge, the downhills, the elevation gain. There were moments where there was big boulders where you had to, sort of kind of like pull yourself up. You didn't have to do anything crazy where you were hanging or really, pushed up thin and having to watch your feet or anything like that. It was just, there's awesome moments where you get to climb up on bluffs and see for miles and miles to the east, about as far east as you can see in Nova Scotia, without any obstructions. And basically, as far as you can see, the only thing out there is this little tiny church and steeple. It's kind of the cutest thing you've ever seen. But the trail is moderately challenging, not because of the boulder areas. And if you read the reviews, there's people saying, well, you got to jump and you got to hang and drop down, and honestly, those are really over-exaggerated. The furthest drop that we had was maybe about 18 to 24 inches. My wife is short, like I've mentioned before, and she was wearing her own backpack that was not very heavy, 5 to 7 pounds maybe in that area. And it was her second hike. She was using trekking poles for the first time ever. She's not she's definitely not more physically fit than I am. She might do more general walking, but she's not in the gym physically fit person. She has fibromyalgia, and she was able to do the whole entire loop that is linked in the description below. So if you're wondering, if you can do it, if you have some physical limitations, that would help you understand what's going on here. Now, I do have to say, her heels and feet and my heels and feet were really, really sore. The entire ground cover of this trail is about 45% roots, and what I mean by that is the kind of roots when you step on them, you feel them in the arch of your feet. So most of the time you're watching where you step, about halfway through the hike, because you don't want to step on these anymore, because the other 45% of the trail, which takes me to 90%, is rock. And these rocks are anywhere from the size of a softball to the size of a watermelon. And a lot of times you can't help it. You have to walk on them and squeeze through them. And then you have another 5% sand and 5% mud. But not a mud that was overbearing. It might be when it rains. If it's rained any time within probably the day and a half or 2 days from the time you're going to go hiking, I would suggest being prepared for mud, because there was some areas where it was definitely the ground was definitely moist, real moist, and we got some times when my foot was doing this. So it was a great trail. it was worth the exercise. It was a step up from the Porcupine Trail that I did, but you can check that review out too if you're visiting Nova Scotia, Canada, and you want to do some hiking. Ultimately, due to the size of my channel and the fact that I'm just starting out and the fact that I work seasonally, I'm restricted to hiking in basically 2 areas right now, either Ontario or Nova Scotia. And Ontario is going to be difficult because I don't actually have my car here or any real means of transportation. I'm basically thumbing it to work every day and making it work, but to get transportation for recreation is going to be tough. So I am going to try to keep putting out content as to what I'm doing to continue my journey from couch to fitness and towards training on being a avid hiker and progressing to a thru hiker. Recently deciding that at some point the first thru hike that I do will be the AT, because I live in Nova Scotia and I'll do it southbound from Maine to Georgia. So basically, I guess you could say I'm training to do a thru hike, but at the same time, that's ultimately definitely not going to be the only hiking I do or focus on here on the channel. I got lots of ideas that will be both original and help people continue to develop their interest in the sport and push the needle, as Justin Outdoors always says. So, which is a great thing. It's just a term that means, if you can hike 5 miles and you can do that comfortably, why not try to do 5.5? And you never know what you're going to see in that other half a mile when you start selecting trails that you're willing to do that are half a mile longer, or the point where you get to maybe you're spending the night, which I haven't even done yet. And as promised, before I leave, don't forget to check out the people who bring this trail possible, which is WRWEO.ca. Go to that website, you'll check out all the information about the Bluff Trail, and which is awesome because what it actually is it's a trail network that provides you the opportunity to backpack in. It's not just a small 5-mile loop or 4.5 mile loop that we did and reviewed here. It actually extends into a bigger network. I'm actually using the 5 separate loops or 4 separate loops for training to be able to do a close to home overnight, as is suggested here on YouTube by almost everybody. The first time you stay away and the first time you test your gear should be at home. And then after that, when you do get comfortable enough that you're sleeping in it and feel like you could set this up in the wild, then you do, and you go out, but you do it close to your car, somewhere close to home, a comfortable hike, something like that. So I'm going to likely work on doing these trails as soon as possible, and if it is possible to do them during the winter, then I'll try to do that. As I've described before, I'm not going to give up on hiking during the winter. I'm actually just going to go full bore into the sport and try to be prepared for all 4 seasons. And like I said, physically I am very weak. I haven't done anything in a long time. I look physically strong, which is funny, but ultimately I'm not, and I'm doing everything I can to get stronger and better, to be able to do and at least believe in myself to be able to do and finish longer hikes, days out, weeks out, then finally through hikes. So I invite you to continue to support us and the channel, and WRWEO.com. They need $75,000 to build a short, they call it long, boardwalk, but when you're on this trail, it's really not that long, guys. It's I couldn't even put a measurement on it. It's probably 50 to 75 meters, maybe 100 meters long, unless they're talking about building a completely new boardwalk. But the sign that I seen and the picture that I'm going to show here, it's right at a boardwalk, so I'm assuming it's that boardwalk. And at that rate, if it's $75,000 to build a boardwalk that short, I just can't believe, I couldn't imagine the cost at maintaining and building trails to begin with, and then to maintain the ones that are epically long and involve bridges that are suspended and involve some risk to the public. So kudos to everybody at WEO.ca and the Bluff Trail. We had a good time. Looking forward to seeing if all of the trail is that rooty and covered with rocks. So it would be awesome if there was plans in the works for you guys to, you know, make certain areas a little smoother, just for the enjoyment of the area, because it is a big area. It is very popular. So I think that it wouldn't impact the environment as much as people trying to find ways around because their feet are sore. So that's just my suggestion. But anyways, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for viewing this channel. And without further ado, keep on trekking and have a super fine day.